Okay, hold on. Let me go live on Instagram because that seems to be the biggest problem on planet Earth. Okay, you guys, you are live.
Thank you, Susan. Hi, everyone. How is everyone doing today? I am Yadira with Las Vegas Fence Company in Las Vegas. Today, we wanted to bring on Zach Romero with Blackline HHP. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being a great supporter to FWA and the show. And I wanted to know what Blackline is about.
Yeah, so thank you for having me today. Blackline is black vinyl fencing. So a lot of people know vinyl fencing with a lot of standard colors and black. What I've always kind of described in my sales talks through the years being the holy grail of colors within vinyl fencing. But black is all we do. So that's kind of our thing. So pretty short and sweet, but that's what we are. Is we do.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Are you doing any education sessions at the Fence Show and Security Expo?
Not at this point. I've kind of trying to look at some ideas of what we could do. A lot of it is we're very niche and very narrow in what we do as a company and as a product. So trying to come up with an education session that would be along those lines has been a little difficult. So something I'm kicking around and trying to look at and probably get a hold of Susan or somebody later on that.
Very cool. How long is that? I'm just curious how long Blackline's been around. And
yeah, so Blackline, our current ownership has owned it for 18 years. The name Blackline has been around a bit longer with a previous owner, previous formula that honestly just failed. But our ownership bought it in the midst of developing their own black product. And so we bought the name, the marketing materials, soft assets, whatever you want to call it. And but we've been running with this formula for 18 years. I've been with the company 15 of those years. And yeah, it's been working well for us.
Good for you. That's great to hear, considering I know that we're always somebody's always in here trying to match something, and we're all like, well, that final company doesn't exist anymore. Like, it's really hard to match it. So it's good to hear that. So what can we expect to see at your booth in September?
So yeah, I mean, just kind of, some displays, some material to touch and feel. Being it's a trade show, I used to set up for years. I've done trade shows. I used to set up full size displays. I've kind of gotten away from that because most guys know what a privacy section of vinyl fence should look like.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just about the product and the options with colors, that type of thing. So I kind of tend to go with smaller displays and cut off profiles for them to touch and feel. And really, because of the bad history of black and dark colors in general, for us and any other company that does something niche, just being at the shows and being there every year consistently shows that we're still in business. As you said, people come and people go with different products, and just being there every year for us speaks volumes to what we're doing, to the quality of our product, the performance.
Absolutely.
We're not a big national company. We're locally owned by two people locally where I'm at. And if we had warranty claims coming out our ears, we would have been out of business a long time ago. They wouldn't have been able to afford it, that type of thing. So it's been a good ride, and we're just plugging away, trying to keep performing and coming up with some new designs, but there are some limitations with vinyl. So,
yeah, gotcha. Well, thank you so much for supporting the Fence Show. Thank you for being here with us. Is there anything else you want to add to today?
No, I think Brian and the FWA, you guys have asked me to be a vinyl fence ambassador, so I've got pretty much a whole team lined up now. I've got one more person I'm trying to get on board, and then we'll have a full team, and then we'll be involved at this Fence Show. I know we're going to be involved with the demo days, just with the vinyl fencing part of it. Not so much we're the team, but we'll be representing the vinyl part of that as well. So there'll be some more things coming up here soon at the show and with our group that hopefully be starting to get some material and some emails out here shortly.
Very good. That's very good to hear, Zach. Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate you and the support, and thank you for being with us today too.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Yep. Hello, Melanie, and hello, Susan.
Hey guys.
How are you guys?
Good.
I'm good, girl. I've been on Zoom meetings all day long, and Brian doesn't like to jump on all the Zoom meetings that I schedule for him in advance, even though I've told him about them and they're important ones. So, like, most of my day has been, either delivering good news or bad news, or just having really a lot of fun. I had a really nice conversation with Mark and Mary Cobb today, and I can't wait to tell everybody about it. But this moment is not the moment, other than the fence sign competition. Got to bring your fence on.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. So today we are going to be talking about material management and inventory, and how does everyone do it? How does everyone deal with retail sales? How does everyone deal with installation? And how do you manage that? Okay. So one of the questions that I do have for you, Melanie, I guess, and we can get into it that way, is do you guys do retail sales?
Yes. Actually, a lot.
Yeah.
I do not.
So how do you handle retail sales and installation? Do you keep an inventory of your materials?
Okay. It's kind of crazy right now. It was shortly after, we've always done retail. It was shortly after COVID that really our retail just skyrocketed. Anthony Campanella Jr. is the one that has been like the sales force. As far as inventory, we are trying to come up with something, some kind of system, some kind of, way to keep up with everything. Right now, it's literally we are buying what we need for jobs and just getting bulk of things that we know are going to sell right away. I know that he's putting in, as the operations manager, I'm not only keeping track of the materials that are ordered for jobs and following up on those ETAs to make sure that those jobs get ready, but I'm also keeping track of the retail sales where every single order I keep up with, I get those ETAs for them. And he's literally placing, I have Marco and I have Anthony, and sometimes Tony and Paul, all placing orders for retail, and they're ordering as needed. Now, when it comes to something large like V300 and split rail and round rail and stockade, like tug and group, whatever, all of those, we do some heavy stock orders, but we're blowing through stuff right now. And where I get an issue as an operations manager is sometimes they have to steal from my jobs.
Yes.
For somebody that comes in.
When somebody comes in and they need it right there at the time,
right?
It's got to go out because
I'm like, seriously, I was in the Las Vegas fence office and they're literally pulling from inventory. I'm like, hold on, what are you doing? Does Brian know about this? They're like, this is normal. I'm like, okay.
And I keep telling them too, and they're going so fast, they're dudes, and they're like, yeah, no, we'll just take it over here, and that job's not going off yet. And I'm like, yo,
yes.
you know that job's not going off yet? Right? I talked to Miss Smith and she wants to get scheduled next week, and I better get that gate back. Like it gets very hairy. And we also have a wood shop.
Let me cut in real fast. So Facebook updated their kind of like user agreement with all the streaming softwares. And so when we go live in groups, we actually can't see those comments. So I have a ton of comments going on here on the women's page. I have Michaela saying, hey girls, hey. I've got Benji with Clever Fox saying, what's going on, women of FWA and Fence fam? Zach just thanked us for coming on tonight. And then I have a friend from here in Baton Rouge that doesn't know what's going on saying hi. What's up, Wallace? I see you. And then Veronica Richardson says, using an inventory management program will also keep track of materials needed and rate of sales. Lightspeed will also notify you when a product is low. So do any of you use
what systems? What systems?
I'm taking notes. Thank you, Veronica.
What did she say it was? Lightspeed?
Yeah,
It is called Lightspeed. Yes.
I'm going to write it down.
Mary, I see you, girl. You're doing a great job too, Mary Cobb. Okay, sorry, y'all. That's gonna be our day.
No worries.
So that's kind of, so what systems do you guys use for your retail sales?
What do we do?
What system do you use for like your retail sales?
Well, I mean, QuickBooks, they put everything into QuickBooks. So,
Okay.
I mean, we have all of the coding for all of the different vendors that we use in QuickBooks. Yeah, so that's about it right now.
Yeah.
Now I have in my office on the fourth screen, I have my vendor open sheet. So it's got, as soon as I get an order, I put all of the information in. So that way, when I follow up with vendors, all I have to do is I go to my sheet and I tell them what order number, and I make notes for everybody.
Yeah. So for our retail sales, we currently we're using Square, which it's actually a really nice system because it does a really good job of updating your pricing. When you update your pricing in the register Square, like it updates it on your website automatically. So that's one of the neat things about that for like retail sales.
Okay.
We have yet to come up with something for ordering. I guess like Veronica was saying, something like Lightspeed, where you're just something that keeps inventory.
Yeah.
Well, so Zach Romero jumped in and he said for HHP, they use QuickBooks inventory. We use what are called groups. You get to build privacy sections to make up a number of different items. So when he enters a privacy section, it automatically pulls each individual piece from the associated price. So like he was saying, like he could do a retail sales side, he can do like a per job side, but like, how does that work with people on the installation side? Like, are there times when people are just pulling from your inventory?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you handle that? Like, do you blow your brains out, or do you just like get over it? Do you account for it? Is it counted as loss? Like,
ideally, you want to get to a point where everything is inventoried and you're pulling from your own inventory, and you're pulling your materials for your jobs, for your install jobs that are going out the same way you would do a retail order, But we have a long ways to get there.
Yeah, we're kind of feeling that struggle for a couple years now.
Yeah.
oh, man. Well, are either one of you doing online sales?
No.
We have all of our items online. We get some orders that do come in online, and then it's just for local pickup. Nothing that we're doing shipping or anything on that.
Well, we do. I mean, we have everything on our website,
Mm-hmm.
but they call in and they place that order. We do.
Gotcha.
We do deliver, but it's within a certain range,
Right.
and obviously we associate a cost to that.
Yeah.
So we
Yes,
would love for you-
delivery and shipping and everything is very expensive. But
Yeah.
Benji had said that it's important to note that not all POS systems support website e-commerce. QuickBooks recently dropped their support of WooCommerce, for example. I don't know what WooCommerce is, but like I have talked to Benji several times about like e-commerce sales and online sales, and like obviously that's the direction that most retail sales is going. Like, I'm sorry, like I shop on Amazon. I don't mean to be that person, but I am. You know what I mean? Like I was in Lowe's today. It was like, oh, I can buy this for like $5 cheaper. Now I wanted it right now. Did I buy it at Lowe's? Yes, of course I did.
Of course.
Under my FWA retail, or under my FWA, MVP program, because I got the fancy little credit card. I got it all connected, the whole nine. But I mean, like,
Yeah. So that's the other thing is one of my questions was, do you order from like multiple suppliers, or do you try to stick with, one or two to make things easier?
We have multiple vendors for various things. And a lot of the time, Anthony's negotiating price. Where can we get the best
Right.
price?
Right.
Same quality product, because we strive to always sell the best. So yeah, we have multiple vendors. So that's multiple vendors that I have to keep up with. And
That's a lot of work.
They all have their different ways of doing things. And my biggest thing,
a lot of work.
My biggest thing is like, yeah, it is. It's a lot to keep up with. It's actually, I feel like it's a third part of my job. And sometimes that takes over. And this is why I wanted to talk about this, because, materials, because it's kind of taking over operations right now. It's not just about my schedule, with installations. Now it's like keeping up with all the vendor orders and all the stuff. And with our retail getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I'm finding that I'm spending so much time putting all the information into the system, making the calls, listening to the negotiations, moving around the materials in the yard, making sure that my yard manager knows, like with the material is what needs to happen, and making sure, most importantly, that people aren't picking out of my jobs. So
that's already been staged,
but not just like not doing it, but telling me, hey, we're going to have to pull this, see that they're waiting on a permit. So, is that okay, Melanie? That's what I love to hear. Is that okay, Melanie? Is that okay? Yeah, I love hearing that.
No, always check in with Melanie before you pull her inventory.
And it's so funny because in the front desk, my office is very close to the front. I hear, don't forget to send the sales order confirmation to Mel, okay? Like it's Melanie at CampanellaFence.com. And I'm like, please. Because if you don't, I will call you and be like, yo, never got my sales order confirmation. And I treat our vendors very nicely. I'm always the one, I have my shit together. Excuse my language. I have everything that they need right when they need it to look up my ETA, to figure out what's going on. And, I just need that sales order confirmation.
Yeah.
But it's a lot to keep up with. For sure.
I guess it comes down to, are you keeping inventory and how are you doing it?
Like I said, we're keeping inventory on big stock items, but
the little stuff,
little stuff is where I think that, and I would love in the future, because I really feel like we should do this live again. I would love to bring Anthony Jr. in on this, because he has he's on top of this, and he's looking to find the perfect way to figure out this whole inventory situation.
Yeah.
We're growing. And I think that that's like the biggest thing is like, the more you grow, the more you're like, oh my gosh, like, how are we going to keep up with all this? Even like when we were talking about chain link prior to us going live, that's a lot. All of those little pieces and parts.
All of those little pieces. It's just so much. And a lot of it, like Brian was saying earlier, like it's just they're so small that the time, the effort, and the time that it takes to inventory is not worth your time. So.
But we all know how I feel. Like if you're not taking inventory, you don't know who's stealing from you. You don't know who doesn't understand their parts.
And how do you inventory hog rings? Hog rings are like, they sell them by the pound because they're so.
But still, I mean, I'm over here thinking about chain bolts, right? Like a chain bolt is like nothing, but like I counted every single one of them. Like, when I think of like master links, like they're where's my camera? This big, you know what I mean? But I still got to count all 1,000 of them that I have there, because what if somebody's handing out number 40 instead of number 41 because they don't know the difference in the sizing? Like, that's a monetary loss, because there is a penny difference between the two of them. And when you're talking about like 5 or 6, it's okay. But when we're talking about 10 or 20, clearly somebody doesn't know their part numbers or the difference in their sizing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like going outside and somebody saying, give me that schedule 40, and they grab the wrong one.
Yeah.
That's a huge price difference, right?
Yeah, for sure. So for us, we try to keep, to make it, I guess, a little bit easier, we try to keep our deliveries come in Wednesdays and Fridays, and we order from 1 or 2 suppliers, and that's it. Like, we try to just stay loyal to them, because it's hard to keep up with the inventory for everybody, for all the other suppliers. So that makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, we have two main ones, but then those smaller ones, if we can't get something, they come into play.
Yeah.
So I just got a really great question on the Women of FWA group. It was Mary Cobb. She said, "Who lets you know when your part supply is low and you need to reorder?"
Yard manager. We
Same
have Chris.
for you,
Huh?
Same for you. You don't walk out there and eyeball it. That's how I always worked. Like I literally knew when I saw my inventory, like what needed to be replenished. Like it was just like a idiot savant moment for me, right? Those are low. Those are low. That needs to be ordered.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have Anthony and we also have Chris, our yard manager. He lets Anthony know, and then Anthony walks out there and he checks everything, and then he places the orders.
So Anthony does the ordering for you. Who does the ordering for Las Vegas Fence?
Typically Les and Sean, our yard guy, will verify what the purchase order states and, verify that it's actually come in, because a lot of times we have back orders that don't, whatever materials you're ordering, they're on back order and they don't come in. So, and a lot of times we're expecting them to finish the job or to, get a job started. So we try to stay ahead of it, but there's still always delays in that sense.
Okay. So let's now kind of talk more about like purchase orders. So you have your people in place that make the orders. Let's say they submit their order and the pricing is incorrect. There has been a price increase. You were unaware of it. What happens then?
So that's why we try to stick with one or two suppliers, because typically your pricing is going to be the same,
Oh.
No.
What about y'all, Melanie? Like, does your yard manager make that decision? Does he have to check with somebody else?
No. All they're verifying is that the material has arrived. It came in.
Yeah, that's kind of what Chris does too for us. As far as anything with pricing, like price increases and things like that, that's what I was saying before. Anthony is our big negotiator. He has those special relationships with our vendors.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm allowed to say as far as
I don't want to pressure anybody. I understand.
But like there's actually a very important thing to say is that we found a very large vendor that deals with very large companies, and he formed a great relationship with them. And we realized this year that if you don't put your order in the winter, you're not going to get it until spring. And it's like huge. What was that?
I'm saying, ooh, that's interesting.
I thought you were
interesting. I like that.
And so we had this ginormous order, let's just say, from this magical place. And we didn't order in time like all these bigger companies. And we got a great deal on it, but we waited like 3 months because we're not used to that.
Yeah, right.
Did it pay off? I don't know. That's, as far as money's concerned, I don't know. But I know with jobs and with retail, I was like, when are we getting this order?
Right.
And it wasn't that normal channel where you could just call up so-and-so at so-and-so and be like, hey, what's going on? It was more like, yo, this is what happens. It takes a really long time. And I mean, you should get it maybe next week. And then it was the next week and it was the next week. And then all of a sudden it shows up unexpectedly, no date. And my yard manager's like looking at, I don't know, $20,000 worth of stuff. And he's having to unload it with a forklift. Yeah. So it was kind of nutty, but we're learning our lesson.
Yeah.
If we're going to order something like that, which we should at that great price, then we need to be sure that we're going to order it in plenty of time.
Yeah.
And that's where the budgeting portion comes into play, in our season, it's hard.
So in the comments, I had a really good comment from Benji again, which is interesting because he's this, I don't know, digital marketing. Like, Benji, what's your real job title? Anyways, so he said replenishment alerts can be sent can be set in great software like Lightspeed. I bet Veronica has more on how that works. But in my opinion, it's best to let your software work for you. So on the distribution side, because we had stock, we had to carry stock in large amounts of stock. We had requisition forms that the system generated for us. I didn't make them up, but of this product you sell on the regular basis.
Yeah.
And it had a minimum order quantity and a maximum order quantity, so that like you weren't going into that weird kind of gray area where you were holding inventory for too long. And so like I'd spit that out, but like I also kind of knew like, okay, well, just because I've only sold this many remotes last month doesn't mean I won't double it this month. So like, you know, things that are going to sell no matter what, like I always order larger quantities of it. But like when we're talking about like large stocking orders, like you're talking about, and you learned like when your season to order is and when it's going to come in, like that very much reminds me of like COVID life. Like, you know, if I order something, like unless it's like specialty, I expect it in like 7 to 10 business days, like straight up, like
Right.
even stocking orders.
Yeah, and we have an issue too with the size of our yard.
Really?
Mm-hmm. We were not prepared. I don't think we were ever prepared to handle selling retail like we have. So we don't have like a warehouse or anything. So we're actually like stocking.
Is that a good problem to have?
Yeah.
Have you seen our bins? I'm gonna do everybody. So when Brian first posted about the bins that we were using for Las Vegas events and stuff, everybody's like, "Where do I get those? Where do I get those?" They're like these Husky stackable bins that we just throw in all of our materials in, and but if you don't have an indoor area, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah. So we actually last winter, was it last winter? God, I don't even know. I'm celebrating my going on my 7th year. So they built this ginormous, like I want to say like a closet in a way. Anyway, and it's sheltered. It's got like a roof and everything. So that way those boxes of all those little things are not going to get all, you know, nasty and messed up. But it's definitely a work in progress. I mean, when we need to stock up, we run out of room really quickly.
Yeah. But good for you guys because retail sales we've kind of like dabbled back and forth whether we shut it down or we don't, but it's actually a really good cash flow.
Yeah. Huge.
Yes. That was the
we're-
next thing I was going to ask. Like, how are you using your inventory to create cash flow? Isn't that really what we're all here for? Show me the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the numbers. I'm only like telling what I know from operations. So
absolutely.
Well, from the numbers standpoint, it's we kind of just recently picked it back up, and it's instant cash flow because you're paying for material, anything retail, somebody's coming in paying for it, and it's just cash flow. So I'm really happy that we're picking it back up.
So I know this is kind of off topic, but on topic. So if somebody is trying to get into retail sales, obviously they need to have a large chunk of money so that they can purchase in bulk what they're expecting. But let's say, what would you say the easiest way to get into retail sales is? Is it chain link? Is it, wood fence? Is it, vinyl fence? Like, or should it just be like what they specialize in?
I think it should be what they specialize in, honestly. And it definitely depends on where you are in the country. We're up north. What's going to be the easiest, installation? So when you're looking at people that are coming in to buy materials, it's based on what everybody wants residentially. Now that I'm only speaking residential, but what's going to be easy to install for them?
Yeah, I think you're right because different areas, different regions, wood is more popular, and for us here, it's chain link. For some reason, we sell a lot of chain link and iron, and we have to keep stock of a lot of our wire posts and stuff. So and wheels. We sell nonstop wheels for residential.
Yeah.
For like gates?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I come from the automation world. You don't put a wheel on nothing.
Yeah, we sell a lot of those wheels.
But so well that's cool. That's interesting. I like kind of that progression that we had from like how to keep inventory to how to purchase, keeping inventory, and then like even transitioning from like softwares all the way into like how to jump into retail sales, you guys. Like I can't believe how much we've covered tonight.
That's why I'm thinking that this topic has a lot of growth to it.
Yes,
You know,
it
we definitely
does.
pull a lot of people
It
into
does.
this because it's a huge topic.
Well, please let us know when Anthony Jr., correct?
Yes.
Would be available, because yes, we would love his input, his specialty, his mind. Like he knows what he's doing, and
Yeah.
we're not exclusive, we are inclusive at the Women of FWA.
Yes.
So
And maybe Veronica too with that light speed. Somebody
Yes,
else
that would be great. I
love
want
to
to know more about that. And I know Anthony would.
I love it. I love it. So Yadira, I'm gonna throw it over to you since you're in charge here tonight. We closing it out. We keeping going.
Yep.
Sister.
Actually, no, that we covered all of the questions that I had on, and yeah, we're good. Thank you guys.
Thanks. It's been great.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna hit the end stream button. Thank you everybody for tuning in with us.
Thank you.
Let me find my mouse.